Hello there, good evening to you, and welcome to this week's episode. My name's Wayne, I am the Lone Headbanger, as always. This week I've decided to do something a little bit different, for two reasons. One is I'm doing this week's video on self-doubt, which is something I've really been struggling with recently. So one reason I'm going to do this is to prove to myself that I don't need to doubt myself and that I am capable of doing these and talking some sense. So as a result, I haven't prepared any notes. I haven't got any prompt cards or anything in front of me. I've got nothing. This will be done in one take. So that'll be interesting. And the other reason I wanted to do it this way is because my videos regularly even stretch beyond 15 minutes, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather keep them short and sweet rather than boring people to tears. So that's what we're going to do today. And I must admit, I feel a little bit out on the ledge, but I feel kind of almost relieved that I can just free form and I haven't got to worry about looking at notes or anything like that. So I'll start off anyway with, as I say, self-doubt. As I said, it's something I really struggle with on a daily basis, if not an hourly basis, where I question pretty much anything that I'm about to do, whether it's painting a Games Workshop model, am I picking the right colour schemes, to playing a game. It's like, is playing Rocket League going to benefit me today, or is it going to make me angry? To anything, absolutely. Most decisions I have to make during the day, I'm double guessing myself, which is not good, because you end up spending your entire life second guessing everything that you're trying to do, and you can second guess and then even second guess your second guess, and that just leads you nowhere. And even if you second guess yourself, you might not be making the right decision in the end anyway. So it's really tough, and especially if you have low self-confidence like I do. It really becomes a struggle. And it can impact so many different things, because even if you do make a decision and you go with it, you can end up thinking to yourself while you're going along with that decision, did I do the right thing? Would the other way have been better? Would I have been better doing something else? And you end up missing the moment of what you're actually doing. I think I've touched on this previously. I think in my self-esteem video there was something along these lines. So I may be repeating myself, but I just want to reinforce the feelings that people can get, that I get, and things that you can do to try and get around it. Now, as I explained in my last week's video, these opinions and these perspectives are all mine. It's all experience that I've had myself. If I give out any bits of advice, it's stuff that's worked for me, or alternatively it's come from my therapist, or a therapist that I'm seeing, as I've seen a couple already. So, but I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a specialist in it myself. I suffer with these issues, but I don't profess to know everything about how to get around them. All I can do is relate what works for me. As I said before, if you want to talk to a professional, obviously go to your GP, or I do have a friend on Facebook called Amy Chatterley, who is starting up her own version of this, I suppose, in its own way. She's doing Q&As at the moment, and she's got a background in it, in the helping side, and she's very good. So if you want if you want a more professional opinion, then Amy will no doubt give you one. As I said, I'm just speaking from the heart and from what I've experienced. So my insight is so people can understand what people go through and the emotions that we feel. But that's pretty much my my self-doubt problem, and things can trigger it. Like I mentioned in last week's video, my setback. All of a sudden, I was doubting everything that I was doing, doing these videos, doing my Facebook live sessions. Basically anything that I was doing, I just crashed, and I was doubting my entire existence and whether it was worth it. And that's the thing, is it can lead drastically into a downward spiral, and that's obviously not good, because when you start doubting one element, then you start doubting, and you can potentially start doubting another one, and it can just lead, as it did with me, into an absolute pit of darkness. And as I said, that was triggered by someone else, that wasn't me. And that's even worse, I think, when you get an external perspective that you aren't doing something right. So, how do we get around it? Well, I was lucky enough to have my therapy session this week, and my therapist reminded me of a technique which I should have done at the time. And basically what it is if you are feeling bad, or you're getting bad feelings about something, or you're having doubts about something to do with yourself, especially if it's external, you need to write down the evidence. So basically, just get yourself a piece of paper, and obviously you can't do this for every thought, but for something that you consider important, write down the good and the bad side of it, if you know what I mean. So, kind of like the thoughts and the facts. So, for example, let me see. Say I wanted to go to the shop, for example. Let's say that. And because of my self-confidence issues, I don't want to go to the shop in case I see somebody and I embarrass myself. The weather might turn and I might get soaked or something like that. Those are ifs, if you see what I mean. They're not facts. They're what you're imagining could happen. You may not see anybody. The weather may not turn. You're immediately doubting your decision to go out and thinking the worst of it. What you need to do is find the positive facts and go, okay, well, if I do go to the shop, then it's getting me out of the house, getting some fresh air. That's a positive, and that's a fact. And those are the things you've got to try and dig out, and trying to weigh up your positives and negatives to any decision that you're going to make. As I said, it's something my therapist told me to do, and that's what I should have done on that day. What I should have done was read what the guy was saying and weighed it up against evidence from the other side. And if I'd have done that, and I've done it since, and it's overwhelmingly that he's wrong, from what I can see, judging by what the evidence I've gathered from my side, from the people who support me, he's absolutely wrong. I think it's a case of misunderstanding my motives, but regardless, once I'd sat down and thought about it, I realised that I didn't need to doubt myself for doing this kind of thing and for doing my live sessions, because people do seem to enjoy them. I seem to bring some happiness to people, and that's genuinely one of the things I do it for. I do these for two reasons. Main reason is because it gives people some insight as to mental health challenges, and whether you suffer with them yourself or not. This can give you a look into the mind of a madman, if you like. Not quite that, but it's coming from someone who suffers, and still, has for a long time and has suffered badly with it. And I'm not seeking sympathy with that. That's just a fact. I do struggle. I've struggled for a long time. If you've watched my other videos, then you'll know that. So that's one of the reasons I do these videos, is the insight. But the other reason is it's therapy for me. As selfish as that sounds, it allows me to get things off my chest. It allows me to feel like I'm helping people and feel like I'm doing something useful with my life, even if it's only in a small capacity. I mean, last time I checked, I had 40 odd subscribers. Not a massive amount of views on the videos, but but even if it only reaches a few people, that gives me that small sense of accomplishment, and just the thought that I'm helping one person makes this worthwhile. And that is what I should have realised the other day. So that's it. That's pretty much it. The long and short is you need, if you are having doubts about something, especially yourself, weigh up the pros and cons. Write them down if you have to. That's always a good idea, actually. But gather evidence for both sides and make sure it's facts and not what you think. Because if, as I say, your mind can just run away and you can create all sorts up there. But find the facts of what's going on. And when you look at it, it'll be like, well, that's clear as day. And you've got no need for that self-doubt. Anyway, as I said, I've got no prompt cards or anything, and I'm terrified I'm about to start rambling. And also, it's getting a bit dark. I don't know if anyone's noticed. I've done this far too late in the day, so I'm really sorry about that. And we've hit the 12-minute mark as well. So I will leave it there. Obviously, questions, comments, anything are all greatly appreciated. By all means, throw them at me. I'll answer them as best I can. So I'll close off with my usual thing by saying it's still a scary world out there. Doesn't seem to be getting a lot better, but we can get through this. I'm sure we can. We can see this to its fruition, one way or another. We'll get there. So anyway, my name's Wayne. I am the Lone Headbanger. I want you to stay strong, stay safe. I'll see you next week.